Just the tips.
Alrighty, buddy. Adam and Mike here. Just the Tips virtual podcast number 64.
Freezing our butts off back home in New York.
Polar vortex. One day we're sipping coffee. It's 70 degrees in the morning. The next day, after a 3-hour flight, it hasn't been above 28 degrees since we got back.
Oh, dude, this is ridiculous. I don't understand why we do it. I think we probably said the same thing last year on last year's podcast, but sooner or later we're gonna learn.
So one of the comments on TikTok, you had a cool post about how hard it is to transition, and one of our loyal followers from down south, the post was, "You guys haven't figured it out yet, have you?" After a while, you just look at everybody and go, "Why do we live here? Why do we live here?
Why are we doing this?" Yeah, I don't really know, man. I mean, I think some people figured out. Dude, every person that we met down there was from the north.
Yep.
Every starter, I think, is from Pittsburgh.
And you played with a guy literally that works for the resort from Stone Ridge, which is like the town in between you and me.
It's kind of funny. So let me ask you this. If you were to tell somebody where you're from that doesn't know the Hudson Valley, what would you say?
Right. I always say I'm near Woodstock. I'm about 90 miles north of New York City, about 90 miles south of Albany. For most people, because to be honest with you, once you're outside of New York City, everything else to them is upstate New York. So
absolutely. So when I was explaining it to these, they were kids. They were 24 years old kids.
Yeah.
He was like, the two I had met before we started the round. So I introduced myself. They're like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I said, upstate New York. I'm like, it's not really upstate, but if it's, we're outside of the city, blah, blah, blah. I gave him the whole spiel. Well, then this kid joins us, and they were like, "Oh, you might know where he's from. He's from like upstate New York." I'm like, "Oh, where are you from, man?" He's like, "Oh, like the Newburgh area." Or no. Yeah, he said I think he said Poughkeepsie area. Yeah. Okay. I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm from," I was like, "Oh, I'm up from near Kingston." And he was like, "Oh, I'm from like Stone Ridge." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm from Saugerties." And and then it kind of narrowed in a little bit more. But I don't know if I would say Poughkeepsie area if I was Stone Ridge. Would you?
I don't know. I know a lot of people identify our part of the Hudson Valley with Poughkeepsie. Like that's a place that people know that's north of New York City. Nobody would know. Like I always like Woodstock because it sounds famous. I'm probably 20 minutes from Woodstock and probably 45 minutes from the Woodstock site. But when you say Woodstock, people kind of, and then it's 90 miles north of New York City. I think that kind of places me in a good geography. But a lot of famous books have referenced Poughkeepsie.
Peaky Blinders. Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders. Angela's Ashes was an unbelievable book. It's the first place that, the famous Scotsman, Andrew Carnegie, it's the first place his family landed. What happens to a lot of folks, in that time is they'd come to New York City and they wouldn't be allowed to land there. So they'd have to come up to the next port, and the next major port was Poughkeepsie. I don't know.
So, all right, I get it. I always say south of Albany. I'll say south of Albany, and then if they kind of know the area, they're like, "Oh, whereabouts?" My sister lives in blah blah blah, and then I'll get a little more specific. I usually say Kingston, Woodstock area, and then I tell them I'm actually from the town where the second Woodstock Festival was.
There you go.
And then they're like, "Oh, it's so cool," and then they go, "Oh, the Mud People," and I'm like, "Yeah."
So no matter where you live in New York, if you're 65 or approaching 65, reach out to mymedicareny.com. That's mymedicareny.com to talk to for free to a specialist to help you with your Medicare plans. Again, if you're approaching 65, it's not too soon. If you're after 65 and you didn't get open enrollment in the fall, it's not too late. But call for a free consultation. They can help you save money. They can help you adjust plans. MyMedicareNewYork.com. That's MyMedicareNewYork.com. Anywhere in New York.
And obviously help you navigate the crazy system that is Medicare in New York. So All right, man.
It's-
Listen, we got to
all
talk
right.
about Brolando.
So we had a quick one. We were in the the Brolando condo garage, and we got about 20 minutes into it. But to be honest with you, I was tired. I was a little tipsy. We had other things pressing that night, so we didn't really dive down into it. We gave a good cursory example and a couple of highlights. But where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with me beating you straight up in the first round.
The
We'll
first,
start there?
third, and fifth rounds. Listen, dude, you played really good. You hit the ball really well. At certain times, you putted really well. So, like I said, not surprised. Not impressed,
but we had a good
not
time.
surprised.
So, no, we'll start from the beginning. So I ended up going down 2 days before everyone else. I went down to Reunion to check out the resort there, to check out their courses, to kind of check out the facilities and everything like that. That's a whole nother story. But I ended up playing the Palmer course that they have on property. Played 13 holes there. Teed off at like 320, and beautiful course of everything that I got to see. Resort course, it was very nice. Hit the ball really well. Could not putt. Could not chip either. And then I realized, oh wait, I'm in Florida. Gotta bust out the 8-iron. Thank you
Chipping and
to
putting.
the general. Yeah, yeah. Woke up the next day and played the Watson course that they also have on property there. Now they have
I
three
didn't realize
courses.
there's a Watson course. Okay.
Yeah, so it's Palmer, Watson, Nicholas. And the Nicholas course
Wow.
is still technically on property. But again, this is one of those typical Florida resorts where they kind of have like things spread out all over the place. You got to take a shuttle over there, and then there's roads in between and stuff like that. The Nicholas course is off, and I guess it's like kind of hard. It's the hardest of the three for sure. So I played the Watson course, and dude, I really, really liked the Watson course.
Nice.
It was a resort course. There's not a whole lot of elevation change because you're in Central Florida, stuff like that. Tons of water, and dude, waste areas, right? Like, so Champions Gate has those waste areas where you kind of could drop out of and stuff like that. This one had a waste area. I remember hole number, it's got to be 9, 10, 11, 12-ish. There was a waste area running up the whole right side. And then there was a bunker running alongside the waste area. Like, it was like,
Oh, really?
as if that waste area wasn't enough. Then there was like this little sliver of grass and then a long bunker running the whole side of the fairway. I was like, okay, Watson, I see what you're doing here. But very cool course, cool designs. Wasn't one of those courses where it has to be long to make it hard. He
Right.
has like I think they said something like 190 bunkers on that course.
Ouch.
It was
Holy
insane.
cow.
So
That's like
very
the Swan.
cool. Yeah.
That's like twice as many as the Swan. Jeez.
I think Swan has like 109, 106, something like that.
I
But,
thought 112, I think, is what they
okay.
claimed
Okay.
during the renovation. So we know that's bunker laden. To almost have double that is pretty
Yeah, dude.
impressive.
I think
What
they had
the- what-
112 on one hole. Number nine at this Watson course was the tee box is like aiming you straight, but the fairway is like way over here, but not like this. It's literally just adjacent to the tee box, and you just have to hit
Really?
diagonally. Everything in front of you,
Ew.
I think, I'm not even exaggerating here, I think everything in front of you was like 30 bunkers. If you just hit the ball straight where the tee marker is aiming you, 30 bunkers. It was crazy.
So
That was
you know
pretty
what's
cool,
funny
though.
about Florida golf, and I think we've played enough to be able to identify that, is that like the Carolinas, Virginia, especially the Strands courses we play, there's a lot of waste area. There's big expanses of sand. But in Florida, they're like super strategic. They know where to put bunkers that you're going to land in them on your tee shot, on your second shot, on your fifth shot. You know, it always seems like I'm in a damn bunker in Florida. You know?
So I wasn't in a ton of bunkers that week.
No.
No, I don't think so.
All right.
I mean, as we get into this, I'll probably realize, oh crap, maybe I was. But,
I was in a lot, but I was hitting that good out of the fairway bunkers. I was pretty happy the way I was getting out of them most of the time.
Well, when you're in them that much, you kind of get used to it, right?
A lot of practice. A lot of practice.
So listen, and the next day you guys came in.
Yeah, but
Oh,
how
go
was
ahead,
the
go
resort
ahead.
itself?
The resort was pretty cool. I mean, it was pretty laid back. It wasn't like super fancy or anything like that, but it was cool. The two courses, the Watson and the Palmer, share a range, which I really, really like. So there's like a central area there. Hotel was cool. Food was okay. I mean, it was nice. It was chill, and I was there by myself, so it was kind of nice.
That is nice. So
Yeah.
the next day is Monday after the Super Bowl. Did you watch any of the Super Bowl?
I watched I think I watched like halfway through the third quarter, and then I was done.
Yeah.
I was pretty happy
So-
with the end result, but it was kind of a boring game.
So shout out to Jesse Kazikoff, who has always come to the Super Bowl party at the house. Always stays through the end, through the MVP, through the 11 o'clock news. My man gets his full
Replay.
experience. It was like the beginning of the third quarter, or the beginning of the fourth quarter. He's like, you got an early morning. I'm gonna see myself out. I'm like, you don't have to go, dude. But I was on bed by before the end of the fourth quarter. We left at like 2:30 in the morning. I met Tone Loke at the park and ride. 5 of us left out of the Albany airport. 3 on the JetBlue flight in the morning at 6, and me and Money Mike sitting right next to each other on that Southwest flight at 6:30, which I thought was kind of unique. You got 2 flights within a half hour of each other, but you flew JetBlue on the way back. I flew Allegiant
Southwest.
on the.
I was
You did Southwest. Okay.
Yeah. They're good with the bags, man.
They're good with the bags. I'm not a big fan of the lining up like a bus, although it always seems to work out. But the free golf bag and the free check bag and the free carry-on, you can't beat the price.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so you guys got down there. What did you get down there? Around 9:30?
Yeah, we landed like 9:30. We were in a rental car by 10:15. And then we met you at Royal St. Cloud.
Man.
Or somewhere in Orlando. I wasn't 100% sure. I was a little foggy at that point, but just excited to be at that point, about 75 degrees and sunny. It was just beautiful.
I guess where we were was Kissimmee.
Okay.
I'll look it up. But here's the deal, the way that Orlando works, and everyone thinks they call it Orlando, but when you're in the airport, call that Central. You go southwest to go to like Disney and Champions Gate and Reunion.
Okay.
Royal St. Cloud was straight south, right? So you're making a big triangle, and each leg of those triangles is a half hour. Huge quotations there. Half hour.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get to Royal St. Cloud?
Inside of an hour.
Yeah.
To go the 35 miles on the highway.
So I was going straight east from Reunion to Royal St. Cloud, and it took me 50 minutes.
How much was that Uber ride?
It was like $80.
Yeah. Jamie and I got whacked for a couple of $100 Uber rides just because the traffic. So Orlando's beautiful, the courses are nice, but I haven't seen traffic like that since I've been in LA. It just doesn't matter what time of the day. It's just you can't get anywhere.
Yep.
So
I had to get
between the
Uber
snowbirds-
XLs too because I had the golf bags with me.
Oh yeah, yep. So just brutal traffic. The big turn off to the Orlando golf trip is the traffic. It's manageable, it's navigable, but it's certainly not a picnic. So how did you come across Royal?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, it's just asking how did you come across Royal St. Cloud? Because
listen,
there's
I was trying to
100
be
golf
nice to
courses
you guys.
within 30 minutes. Okay.
I was trying to be nice. I was trying to find something that was feasible. You guys weren't. I didn't want to make you guys drop like $180 as soon as you got off the plane. I was trying to find something that was close to the house. Orange County National was on the list. We were supposed to link up with another Instagram golf influencer. That didn't work out so well. I still kept our name on there, and I said, hey, listen, I'm bringing a group of guys. What are we looking at here? And their tee time, their price was $190, and I was like, tee time was good. It was kind of right near the airport. Whatever, it would have been totally fine. Except, I asked you guys. You said 190 right off the rip. I'm like, probably not a good idea for a practice round. Haven't swung a club in 2 months. Like, maybe not a good idea. So then I asked Bird. Me and Bird were chatting like a couple days, like maybe a week before the trip, and he was like, check this course out. So I did. They didn't have any tee times. He was like, check this course out. And I did. No tee times, or it was a little expensive. He was like, dude, check out Royal St. Cloud. I'm like, dude, that's a little east, don't you think? He's like, no, it's totally fine. I'm like, all right, dude, if you were cool with it. And then I talked to him about the whole grocery shopping thing, about time and getting back to the house at a certain time and this and that. And so I called Royal St. Cloud up, $60. Good track. I mean, dude, it was a great track. And we were good to go.
So I was impressed because it's a link-style course in the middle of Orlando. A ton of water, like unexpected amount of water on the course. I mean, I think there was water
3
on
nines.
50. Yeah, 3 nines. Good driving range, good practice facility, good clubhouse. But I've never played a course that had a sense of humor. The whole course was just like, it was cute. It was funny. Now, hard course, especially right off the plane.
And a great course.
But and good holes. Again, right out of the rip, lost like a half a dozen balls in like the first 15 holes. But like signs about the guy who threw his 3-wood into the pond. Signs about about the guy argued with his wife. They had to make it look more like England, and I don't know why, or more like the greater Great Britain area. They had those Doctor Who
telephone booths,
all over the place, like for no reason. Yeah. And then
they had that the candy machine, golf ball candy machine.
What do you remember the name? Every hole had a name, and I remember that name being like, it was Poison, was the name of the hole, and it was like 165-yard par 3, water on the right, but the green had like a false. It was like a false green. Like there was no way to hit the green. It would just roll off either forward, back, or into the water. And they had a candy machine with balls for like, I don't even know how much they were, but you could put in change.
Don't act like you don't know how much they were, because you get 3 of them.
I needed 3. I lost a lot of balls that first round. But the whole course was like, it was fun. The beverage cart was I'd never seen a beverage cart like that before. It was like a time and a half the size of a normal beverage cart. It had wood paneling on it, and I think a Cummins diesel in it, or something. I mean, that thing was amazing. It was like an all-terrain vehicle.
Yeah, when the beverage car can go faster than the regular cart, you know that they mean business.
It was going faster than the Uber that took us from the airport. But, that lady was hauling. But I really enjoyed the course. I would say if you're in the Orlando area and you're looking for like say you don't want to drop the big money on the resort courses, you're like us, you need a practice round, or hey, listen, I'm not that level of golfer where $200 for the day makes sense. Go to Royal St. Cloud, man. That's a good day.
So I think one of the guys talked to the starters, because when I got there, dude, they were super busy. Like they were sending people off. The starters were going. It was hectic. I think they do some ridiculous amount of rounds per year. That's like some astronomical amount. I don't know what the number is, but like they said it, and it's like a lot. I don't know what the number is. I don't even know what a lot is, but it was a lot. So the course does get a lot of play, and I'll be honest, you can see it. A lot of like same worn down areas from carts going off in the same spots and stuff like that. But again, it was a really cool track. I had a blast, and I love that it was a practice round that the 6 of us got in. Yeah,
it was fun. So that took us up. I mean, kind of late. I think we had a noon tee time or 12:30. We got off the course at 5:30. We got down to the house, 6:30. Bird and the commissioner were already there. I was in the car behind. So when I got there, hugs and kisses to everybody. But I didn't realize that this was the year we were starting the Stapleford for picking your room. So last year I came.
I think
in
it was
second
just
place.
the first 2. I think it was just first 2 this year.
Okay. Gotcha.
He
So,
said it in the email, bro.
It was a long email. And I read most of it, but my reading comprehension, asked my second grade teacher, not as high as you'd hope. But anyway, I got to pick out the king size bed with the big room and the downstairs and the whole thing. It was nice, you know?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little incentive for next year, right?
Big time. You know, not to get too far off of course, but we should talk. I mean, while we're talking Stableford, how'd you think the Stableford went this year?
I think it was good. I think the whole layout was fine. I think you did a much better job of like being prepared and everything like that.
Yeah,
It was good.
I think so. I'd be interested in hearing different scoring systems because when I looked up Stableford's scoring system, there was like 100 of them, right?
Yeah.
And you can associate any point value you want, but most of them are weighted kind of like this. So I'll tell you guys the one we used. If you have a one that you like better or something that you use differently, just put it in the comments. I'd love to hear if we could do something better. But we did, the only negative was -2 for a double bogey. Anything double bogey or more, right, was a -2. Bogeys were 0, pars were 1, birdies were 2, eagles were 4, and anything over that was a 10. I don't think we had anything over that. So the way I looked at it was, none of us are playing like great, except for the one guy who got off to a good start. But it just kept you from getting that double bogey. You know that negative number was brutal. You know, so
Yeah.
a net bogey was like the goal at the worst. But again, we had folks that had negative scores on the day. You know,
Yeah.
so you know it just tells you, you know, a little rusty. You know, Bermuda grass and out
Putting.
of practice. So yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you guys use a different scoring system, let us know.
Yeah, let us know because so what did we do? We did a -1, a 0,
-2.
-2 was for double or more.
Yep.
Bogey was what? 0.
Yep.
Pars were
No harm,
1.
no foul. Might as well.
Birdies were
2.
2, and eagle or more was 5.
4. Yep.
4.
So the way I looked at it was a bogey didn't hurt you, a par gave you something, a double hurt you, the equal amount of birdie helped you, and then you have the opportunity for an eagle, which over 200 holes you'd hope a net eagle somewhere along the way, especially for some of the higher handicaps, and that would like really help you out. And we had a bunch of net eagles. We just unfortunately had way more doubles.
Yeah.
Way.
Okay. They get it.
A lot of doubles. Yeah.
Not just me and Adam. Everybody.
No, in totality. So, but again, by the way, that's the way I was watching a thing about playing golf in Ireland, about boys' trips to Ireland, and that's what they said was use the Stableford system because they're like, over there the courses are going to eat you up. You're not used to playing that style of golf. Your score is going to suffer. Your score is going to stink. And enjoy yourself with the Stableford, you know. And I think it worked out for us, you know.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I again, and also, you know, in the back of your mind, you're like, hey, listen, I gotta stay in this hole, man. I gotta save
Avoid
my
the
bogey
double.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. Avoid the double.
So listen, we had steaks the first night. Commissioner cooked. He cooks great food. I think we could say that a million times on this trip about everything that the commissioner has done for this entire trip. It's been just absolutely amazing. He keeps everything in a folder with a, you know, you need 2 keys. One guy has a key, the other guy has a key. No, I'm just kidding. No, he does a great job. But we were all set up and ready to go for day one, dude. Wheels up at 6:15.
We were, and like I said, for whatever reason, we got a little.
I can still
delay
hear
out
the
of gate.
nervousness in your. I can still hear the
Dude.
nervousness in your voice.
All I wanted to do was go and putt. I was like, I just wanted to get there. And the guy, you know, Money Mike, I normally drive in with, he had some stuff going on. He wasn't right out of there. We had some other delays, and it was like 6:30, and we still hadn't left yet.
It
Like,
wasn't
I was
6:30. It was probably like 6:24 when we left.
It was not 6:15. And like I said, you know, I was having myself a little panic attack. Long story short, though, we get to the course. It's still freaking dark.
Still dark.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what I thought I was doing out there, but we do get there nice and early. But
You're more of a
Champions Gate-
feel golfer. You don't even need to see where the hole is. You're just gonna feel it by not even
I
looking
brought
out. into
one
the
glow
pitch
in the
black.
dark ball, one glow in the dark ball. Just chase that around. But Champions Gate, second year in the row, national, international was the play. You and I get to be partners right off the rip, and like I said, we had our walk up music. We had our
it's a good time.
check out. You'll see some of the videos coming out, but. I don't know. How do you want to do this? I mean, we played the national twice, we played the international twice, and we played Shingle Creek 4 times.
We don't have to
obviously
go
we're not
into
gonna go hole
great
by
detail.
hole.
Yeah. But listen, we had 2 new guys on the trip that have never played these courses before. Now, we were in their shoes last year, right? So I got Tone Loke. I think he was in our group the first time, and I was playing against him, so obviously you don't want to sit there and give him every tip in the world. But you also don't want, personally, I didn't want him to think that I was messing with him either. I didn't want to mess with his game plan, but I was like, hey, Tone, listen, we all struggled last year with the chipping, so the bump and run with the pitch and wedge or the 8-iron or the flat stick off the long stuff is not a bad play, but it does get frustrating, and I mean, all of us saw it. I mean, I still struggled chipping. I don't know. You actually did pretty good with you had your sand wedge, right?
Yeah, so, the simulator's, not up and running yet, but it did have a good chipping area out there and a drill I was working with, and I was chipping off the flat mat and just trying to get, so the drill was, there was a piece of foam board with 3 targets on it, a low target, a mid target, and a target about 6 feet in the air. And I was trying to hit those targets from about 15 feet and nip it off the thing. And what I found was I was able to hit it off of the Bermuda, which, by the way, the lies weren't as thin as they were last year. They had some great growing conditions. They had some good, better lies, still thin. But I was able to pick it nice and clean because it's quite honestly the only thing I worked on. Where our boy Tone Loke kind of suffered that same thing that happened to us last year. And God, I get accused of not being empathetic, but man, I felt terrible for him because And we're I don't really have that bump and run game. Now you transitioned to that pitching wedge, a wedge, 9-iron, 8-iron, pretty easy. And by the end of the thing, you were knocking them stiff.
Well, I just bring it up because we did have 2 new guys on the trip. So we get out to National. Luckily, we started on National. Thank God.
Of course.
Great course. All 8 of us on the first tee. We got walk-up music playing. We got the commissioner. Got his big red beard going. It was great. It was just a really fun time on that first tee to have, everybody there. We got the music. We got the videos going. We're having a blast. And that was the great kickoff to this trip. And then also playing National, we all had a good time. Yep. Until we got over to International. What were some of your highlights from day one? We'll say day one, okay?
Yeah. So day one, again, no real expectations as far as score goes. For me, this was really about kind of testing my health, testing to see how the hand would hold up. It did fine at Royal St. Cloud. I was fine the next day. We were good. Good in the morning, and I was worried about the afternoon. I was good too. I hit a lot of good drives. I hit a lot of bad drives. I had a little snap hooky thing going on that I was working out. No real memorable holes. I wasn't throwing birdies down or driving the ball 300, but I was out there and I was playing and I was happy, and that's all I can ask for.
Yeah, I say the same. Nothing real memorable of throwing birdies or hitting a flag. I did par 3 235 into the wind. Part of that day one, which was kind of nice. Oh no, that's Shingle Creek. That's day 2. Sorry.
So day one though, number 14 at National and International, the 2 new guys. It's the number one, the hardest par 3 in the world. It's 239. Little downhill, got to carry a marsh, carry a bunker. It's surrounded by a marsh. There's a small pot bunker.
Dude.
That's the pins rolls right behind this little ass pot bunker.
So I remember tee shot on 12, I think, is probably I would say 12 is your last easy hole on that course. Right?
Yep.
13
After
maybe
that.
tee shot's a little wider, but you can't miss right or
That's
left
right.
on 13 tee. After that, it's all tough. So I told them, I remember telling them, I'm like, enjoy this. This is your last easy shot on this course. And they both get up and birdie 14.
So our we got Tone Loke, who's a really good player. He's like an 8 handicap, the chillest, coolest guy in the world. Was struggling, knocks it on, makes the putt, and then we got are we calling him the detective?
Yeah, we'll call him Detective.
So again, who is a 20 handicap, but he's known as the par 3 slayer.
Par 3
All right,
Slayer.
you par 3 slayer when the par 3 is 120 yards, 150 yards, 180 yards, 230 yards. And what's he do on the first time on this? He chips in for birdie. So nobody else has had a birdie on this hole ever since Greg Norman was the last one when he designed the course.
When he
right?
designed
These two
it.
guys,
And
show
then he
up
said
and
it's
just-
too easy, let's lengthen it.
These two show up and birdie it right out of the rip. You know, so good for them.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was
I'm
so
jealous.
cool to see. Yeah, me too. Because listen, I mean, Detective hit a pretty good shot. Tony was on. I hit probably the best shot. I don't want to say in a group, but of me playing that course, that's the best tee shot I had, and I walked out of there with a bogey.
Yeah, I smoked mine into the swamp. Bird
Left
with
or
the bird's
short?
eye left. I hooked a 3-wood that didn't get there.
Sounds about
and
right.
chipped it on 2-putt bogey, but he found it in the high stuff. But so the international and the national, just a beautiful day of golf. I mean, it's so much fun. It's ridiculous. It's a good time, and we had a great first day. But that night, little self care. The commissioner
tub.
was grilling and chilling.
Yep.
Cocktails were flowing. It was a good one.
Yeah, man. Hot tub,
Yep.
pool, good times. But again, guess what, dude? It's early bedtime. It's early bedtime because we got to get up. What time were you? You were getting up before I was. I was getting up at 5:30. What time were you getting up?
Different every day, but I was trying to. I wasn't trying to. We were going to bed at 9:30, so that's like my normal when I'm working out at the gym. I was getting up at 4:30, and I'm like, I can either go back to bed for a little bit, or I can get a solid stretch in. And I was just after not playing golf for 2 straight months, playing for like a day or 2 in a row, and stretching like that, and getting a good yoga in, dude, I felt muscles I haven't felt in a long time, and it felt so good. It felt so good. That's all I wanted to do. So I was going to bed early so I could get up early so I could make sure I got that stretch in. So I was going for a walk in the morning. Like I'd hear Bird get up. He's a 4:30 guy too, but he went out and made the coffee. So he'd go back to bed and wait until the coffee was done. I'd grab a cup of coffee, go for a walk, give Jamie a call. Had to wake her up a couple times because, I said I wasn't there.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I was getting up 5:30, get dressed downstairs, cook breakfast, out the door, man. Wheels up at 6:15 again. Shingle Creek, which is a little bit further away.
21 minutes door to door in the morning.
And
In the
pitch
night,
black.
not so much.
Pitch black. I think the first day we actually had the guys like moving the cones out of our way to let us get to the bag drop. Again, you guys, everybody, like you players, we'll call you the players, think Shingle Creek is harder. Big boy course, I guess. I like Shingle Creek, man. I like the layout. I like the hotel. I like the putting green. I like the range. I like it all there. Good vibes at Shingle Creek, man. What do you think?
Yeah. So I think it's the most manicured course maybe ever. Just the way they maintain it is at a very high level, and I like that. We played it in the morning with the wind down, and we played it in the afternoon, and then the following Friday with the wind up. Let me just
wind up.
I'll just run through the holes that I think are hard, and then just
1
kind
through
of compare
18?
that. Just kind of compare that to your own course. 1's not too bad. 2 is a nightmare. I
2
find
is tee
3 to
shot.
be. It's not only the tee shot; it's that green complex is very difficult to hit into, even with a short iron.
Yeah,
it's one of
true,
those where if you push it too far up and you're hitting like a 60-yard shot,
You're done.
It's not a hole to be cute at. So I find that to be a really hard hole.
Definitely.
Number 2. Number 3, I
three's not
find to be
easy.
extreme difficult because while you'd love to cut the corner, it's not there, which really makes the tee shot really, really narrow.
And then they
if
got a
you hook
bunker
it, you're
up
in
the left
woods.
side.
If you hook it, you're in the woods. If you slice it, you're in the pond. If you drive it too well, you're in the sand trap. There's not a lot of places for it. So that's my second hard hole. I'll let 4 and 5 kind of pass, even though 5 I think is the green makes it a very challenging par 3. But number 6, that hole is so difficult. You get eaten up on the tee shot on the right. I've been hitting good drives, but a very difficult green to hit. And once you hit the green, the thing is a nightmare. I saw a very good 4-putt on that hole, like an excellent 4-putt.
So that's 1, 2, 3,
3 of the first 6.
6,
Right?
4 of the first 6.
4 because number
No,
I'd say
1, 2,
2,
3. Oh,
let
1 you're
5
not
off
saying.
the hook.
Or, you're letting 1 go. So 2, 3, 6,
2, 3, 6,
7.
7. I talked to the guy in the pro shop. I go, what the hell is that? Why would you make a hole like that? Get Arnold Palmer on the phone, or what was his wife's name? Winnie Palmer? Get somebody from the Palmer family on the phone and just ask why. Why would you have a 240-yard par 3 uphill into the wind over a waste area with a steep giant green with water on the right side? It's just I don't
Out of a chute.
It's not any
Out
fun
of
to
a
play.
chute. Not to mention you're coming out of a chute as well.
Yeah.
All right, so that's 4 out of the first 7.
Number 8 is the hardest layup shot I've ever seen in my life. Unless you really par 5, unless you poke the ball, you'd need to lay up. But the layup, the 150-yard marker is probably only 20 yards from the out of bounds to the water. So,
And that's from the 200-yard marker all the way up to the 100-yard marker. It's this wide.
So you're hitting a good drive into an incredibly difficult layup shot. And then the green complex is extremely hard too. So there's 4 of the first 8.
That's 5
9
of the first 8.
5, 9. I don't even know what 9 is. 9 I play like a par 5 and I'm happy to get a 5.
Yeah.
It's 450 yards into the wind every time. Waist area right, water left, real skinny green. The water on the left comes in real hard. It's a really monstrous hole. I mean, that's 6 of the 9 holes on the front I would consider to be hard holes. Right?
Hard. Yep. All right, so I do think that Single Creek is harder than the other courses. I just play it better. Maybe it suits my eye better. Me and Arnold Palmer. I don't know. 10. Now let's go through 10. We'll go through it back.
All right.
10, not
So
that hard.
10's reasonable.
Yeah,
Still
it is
difficult.
a
but reasonable.
normal hole in the north. 11.
Is nightmare. Is a nightmare. You, especially with the wind in your face, you hit a big drive. You still got like 200 or 190.
Yeah.
The green,
Skinny green.
left to right, there's nothing to it. Front to back, it goes on for forever, but it drops off on both sides to where.
Yeah.
What do you think the green and regulation percentage is on that hole from the tees we were playing? So everybody comes through
From our
average
group?
golfers. Oh, it's like, sure. Let's say from the group, we had 8 people play it 4 times, so that's 24 times. How many times do you think somebody was on that green in regulation out of 24?
How many times do you think? How many times did you hit it?
0.
Me too.
Yeah. Yep. And,
So
and the
it's
one time
3.
I was 20 yards short, I was happy about it. You know?
Yeah, me too. Yep.
If you get left or right, there's not a lot
All
of
right,
green.
so that's 1 on the back. That's tough. 12.
Yep.
Not that bad.
I like 12. I
like
don't
12.
know why I like 12. Yep.
I think it grew on me. You know, the building in the back doesn't really bother me. I think it almost adds to it, to like its quirkiness.
I do too.
I like
It's
it.
a
Plus, I
weird.
birdied it.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's one of the illustrious birdies. One of the 3%. So
13.
12, 13. I like it.
Par 5. I like
Not
it.
mad
The
about
tee
it.
shot's a little tight for me, but after that, it's fine. Okay.
Yep.
14, short par 4. That is 9 yards longer than the par 3.
Well, let me ask you a question. What kind of numbers did you take on that hole? Whether it's hard or not. I don't like it because you're hitting like a 6-iron into a 7-iron, right?
It's
You
not
really
hard.
can't.
No, you don't. You hit a 5-iron into a pitching wedge.
Yeah, I don't like the hole, but we'll say it's not hard. Okay,
It's not
right?
hard. It's not hard.
All right. Number
15 par
though.
3, not that bad. It's a big green. It is a tough green. You got water left. You got water way right. I want to call it a hard hole, but it's not an easy hole.
Out of the par threes there, and I'm just thinking, out of the par threes there, it's probably one of the easier ones. Is it easier than 5? Probably
It's
not.
probably about the same as 5.
Yeah, but in the pantheon of par threes of that course, it's to the easier side, so we won't count that one either.
All right,
So that's
so we're
really
still
only
at
2
one
hard
on the
holes
back.
so far. Just
Wait,
one.
what
Just
else did you
number
count
11?
as 2?
You're
Yeah.
right. I'm sorry. Just number 11.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so now we get up to 16. Par 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an easy hole, except it's not long. It's only like 480.
Yeah.
Usually in the wind, just because you got water there and it's kind of open and it's always blowing in your face. Not a hard hole though.
No.
Not a hard hole. If they stretch that
especially-
out, if they stretch that out 30 more yards, and you would have to hit that
hole.
third shot, it would be a hard hole.
Yep. Into
All
that.
right, so
green.
we're still
That's
only
it.
on 1.
Just one. Then you get the 17. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
200 yards. 200 yards. Water all the way up the right. Green is crazy. You got a bunker protecting left. You got a swale even further left if you chicken out. Hard hole.
Tri-tier green.
Yeah. Very hard hole. Dead-eye par.
Very hard. Yep. And
Four
and
iron.
for me, hitting a draw in that, you have to carry the water the whole way if you hit a draw into
Yeah.
that hole. You know?
Yeah.
Great par, by the way. I was up by we were just getting off the green, and I see a 4 iron knocking onto the green. I'm like, wow. I'm like, that's a really good shot. You know?
Yeah, I was
so
pretty
nicely
happy
done.
with that.
And then 18, I consider to be a difficult hole. I know a lot of people don't because of their scores on there, but unless you hit the cart path, you're going to have a very long iron or a wood into a par 4 that's protected by water left. You know, and the
Yeah.
green slopes left. So I would put that up with the harder holes on.
I would too. I would too. Only because, like you said, cutting the corner to try to shorten it. If you don't hit it perfect, or if you don't catch that cart path, you're going to be blocked out. And then they have a tree that kind of sticks out into the fairway that would block you out as well. So, not
It's the only hole ever that I played for the cart path, and I played with. I played it four times with 8 people. Said 16 times. It was hit 3 times out of 16. So
Yeah.
it's the play, you know.
Yeah.
So that's
it
only
is, it
3.
is kind of the play.
So
That's
that's
3
only
on the
3
back.
holes.
What did we say? 6 on the front.
6
So
on
that's
the front.
9. Half the course is hard.
Is really
And the
hard.
other half
Yep.
is not easy. I'm not saying that we didn't say there was any easy holes on that course.
No. I would say 1, 10, and 12 and 13 are maybe to the regular side. They're not
What do
gonna
you
be
think
a
the
great-
easiest hole is? Maybe 12?
12.
Yeah.
Yep. I like that hole. You hit a drive to the 100-yard marker. The green's shaped like a taco. Hit the green
Yeah.
with the right yardage, and you got a nice birdie putt.
I think it's easier than 14, even though 14 is only 244 yards.
Yeah.
It's strategically designed, 14 to mess with you a little bit, mess with your head a little bit. But
Yeah. So we take this incredibly difficult course into perspective, especially when the wind's up. And I had my 2 of my best 9s. I shot 41 on the back, and then brought it back around on the second 18 with a 42 on the front. So that had been like an 83, but it was 2 separate rounds, so you can't count them. I had a blow up 9 and an 80 and a 41, and then I had a 42 and a blow up 9. Both of them were mid to upper 80s. What'd you do with the course?
So out of the 4 times, I think the front 9, my best was a 41 on one day, and then on the back 9, shot a 37.
Dude.
37 with a par putt on 18. I was on in 3 and had I think I had like a 8-footer or something like that. I was like, in my head, I was like, dude, you got to make this to shoot a 36. Part of me though, and it was like it was hard. And this is like kind of like where I kind of started changing my putting. Part of me was like, all right, make the 36, but you have to guarantee yourself the 37. So I didn't want to overthink things, and that was on I don't remember what day it was, but that was like kind of part of the part where I was like, all right, dude, stop overthinking things, just get up there, feel it out and just tap it in. And I missed the putt, but I left a little tap in for a 37. I was pretty happy with that.
There you go.
We won a lot of money,
dude. That's some really, really, really good shooting, man. And again, tied for the lowest 9 holes of the entire trip. Again, it's a big boy course. It's really, really difficult, and 37 out there is spectacular shooting, man. Awesomely done. Really well done.
I was pretty happy, and it was. I don't want to say it was a boring 9 holes because I was scrambling to save some pars, but it was fun. You know what I mean? You're not dropping, you're not hacking out of the crap, you're not hitting these crappy bunkers. You know what I mean? Like there's none of that, and it was just kind of nice. It was just nice to not be beat up after 9 holes.
Yep. That's the way to finish, man. Being able to come into the clubhouse and toast a beer. So, like I said, I like Shingle Creek. The more I play it, the more I like it. I'd like to play it when the wind is down. We had one morning where the one morning the wind was down. Outside of that, the wind just wreaks havoc out there.
Yeah.
On the 16th hole, we had the wind. We had the one morning we had the wind at our back, and I clobbered one. And like you said, it's 480. I think I had 182 in. So
nice.
It's like 298. I mean, like I said. It
might even be shorter than that. I'm not taking away from your drive, but I'm just saying I'm not. But I'm just saying like just if we have any like fact checkers in there and listening to our podcast, it's just not a long par 5, but it's definitely.
No. The GPS though lets you know how far away you are from the tee. So when you roll up to the ball, you can say, I just hit the ball 235 or 219. I mean, I had a couple of drives that I hit well that were like 215. I had a couple of snap hooks into the wind that were like 189. I'm like, oh my god, wind just blowing. But
then you're like, I think they had the tees back. I think they did. They just shouldn't have updated on the GPS.
That's it. So again, great golf. Any memorable shots for you? Anything that we were like, man, that was an amazing shot.
Dude. I mean, so I birdied 12. I hit a shot off of the left side that it was just I hit it, and it was a little funky lie, and I'm like, this can either I'm going to hit this good or I might shank this over onto 13. And I hit it, and I don't know if you ever do this, and I do this way, way too often, that I hit the ball and I'm kind of like, based off of the feel or based off of my expectations, I kind of look a certain direction, and it wasn't either of those. It was actually just perfectly straight at the flag. And I'm like, you look up and you're like, oh, all right, cool. And it was like pin seeking, dude. It was pin seeking. So that one was kind of cool.
That is awesome.
How about you? What do you got?
I had a couple of big drives that I was just real proud of. Again, not hitting balls and not working out. The ball jumped off the club, and and you're playing with good players, and you're 20, 30, 40, 50 yards ahead of them. You're like, wow, like I really clobbered that one. But I had Royal St. Cloud. I hit the pin on a par 4. Was kind of cool.
I still beat you
it still beat me straight up, and I missed the putt for birdie. I had again, I was out of the bunkers so much. There was a couple of really good bunker shots, like green in regulation from 150 yards from a bunker. All those things feel good. But like I said, I hit a lot of good shots, but just none back to back. So
it's tough. Especially when you're coming out rusty, is like linking those shots together, and or capitalizing on like a good chip or a good approach shot, and then like, oh man, the putts. So but it was all in all, dude, it was good.
Yeah, so we're running a little long on time here. I did want to get your impression of how the guys played. We got nicknames for everybody to protect the innocent, but kind of running through the group and just highlighting some of the things that we observed from the trip. I'll start with Bird. I mean, the guy comes out and he shoots 78, 76 on the international. To light it up. He shot 77 in a practice round the day before. And then he settled in to, regular wintertime Florida golf, shooting some low 80s, scores the rest of the way. But I was just so impressed on how well he played straight out of the gate.
Yeah. Well, I think when we get down there, you want to play well. And I've said this in previous podcasts. I feel like golf is different, right? Like when you play football, when you play basketball, when you play whatever, you're like, hey, listen, I'm struggling right now. I'm going to put in 110%. And you can't do that in golf, and you're trying to force shots. You're trying to just play a little bit more aggressive to kind of start battling back. I think we all struggled. I think we all had our good moments. I think we all had our bad moments. I think we all hit good shots. I think we all hit shots that we wish we can take back, dude.
Yeah.
But that being said, as the week got on, we all started playing a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I definitely noticed that, like, everybody's kind of getting settled in. We're all kind of like getting acclimated with each other. We're all getting more comfortable playing with each other, riding in the cart, everything. I think we all kind of got a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more relaxed.
The other guy that I thought played out of his mind was the detective.
The detective. I knew you were going to say it.
Who I just don't understand how somebody can be unfazed by everything that was going on. I probably play a dozen or more rounds with him during the year. Sometimes, on the Saturday, Sunday group, sometimes as a partner, sometimes as a competitor. And, I know his game well. Like I said, he's not long off the tee. He's very accurate with the irons. He's not afraid to lay back on a par 4 and try and get up and down from 40 yards. Can be a solid putter and chipper. But he played as well as he plays in the middle of the summertime. So he flies to Florida, hasn't picked up a club since, in forever. Goes down there and just plays his normal Saturday, Sunday game like it's June at Wiltwick.
Yeah, dude, totally. And I mean, I think me and you played with him a little bit. No, did we play? We played our first round against him, right? Or maybe our last round.
Did.
I don't know.
I think also,
dude, he was hitting some shots, like striping some shots, and and then nothing. Didn't think anything of it. Like, was just like, yep, I hit that good. I'm like, dude, great shot. He's like, yeah, okay, thanks. I'm like, no, man. I mean, I don't think you understand how great that is. He was my partner one round against you, and he carried me. I hope he's listening. I literally owe him a dinner for that because I blew up on the back nine, and he just demolished you guys on the back.
Yeah, single-handedly.
What was that? National.
That was national. Me and Money Mike versus you and the detective, and he just came to play, and he was steady Eddie. Although I think in the Stableford he had more net eagles than anybody. I think he had 3 or 4.
Oh,
and
it
just
he ended up coming in second.
Yeah.
By
Speaking
4
of Money
points.
Mike, I thought Money Mike played awesome, especially considering he had a little
injury,
tweak going on. Might have seemed like an injury is only small when it happens to somebody else. When it happens to you, it's the biggest thing in the world. But he, Royal St. Cloud and then battled through. But man, his driver has really come along in the last year. Like night and day. It's like
he was mashing that thing for again, as the week got on, he got a little bit more confident and a little more comfortable with what he was. I guess like pros say this too is like, oh, I know what this is the shot I have today. I don't, I can work the ball today, or I only have a fade today, or something like that. He just started trusting that and was ripping at it, dude. It was really cool to see.
Yeah, and the best putter on the entire course. I mean, not in our group, on the course. The first day we played with him, I think he made 60 feet of putts in the first 3 holes and 1,000
dude.
for the week. It was a putting display. So again,
Yeah, it was pretty
congratulations, Money
impressive.
Mike. Yep. The general continues to impress. A
Always.
year older, a year wiser, and like I said, man, you got to give that dude credit too. It took him a couple days to loosen up, but once he did, like the last day at Shingle Creek, he was really swinging the club.
Just
nice.
would not go away. He just would not go away. We'd win a hole, they'd win a hole. Gary would win a hole. Like it was impressive. Like I was expecting that last day to get him a little bit, and he stepped it up, and he played great.
And what about and chipping with the 8-iron? He like invented that. I think back in the like the early part of the 1900s.
With a
but
wooden like a
mashy. I think it was a mashy or a niblick. But dude, that dude can chip with that 8-iron in the Bermuda grass.
yes, he can.
Felt for Tone Loke. Again, he got eaten up a little bit by the course, but the last round was like all redemption, man. I think he saved his very best for last, and I was happy to see him come bouncing back. I hope he comes back next year because just a little bit of Florida knowledge, and he'll be right there with us. You know,
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Yep. And then
man.
and just a shout out to the commissioner. You got to give somebody a lot of credit that plans it, executes it, has to shepherd us around like a bunch of Girl Scouts, a bunch of cats trying to herd cats. He had a new driver, new wedge, coming off of.
Dude, he had
his
that
own
wedge. I think I played against him, and he was nipping this thing so good, dude. I'm like, I saw it come off the club face. I'm like, dude, if that don't spin, that's going off the back. 1, 2, check, stop. I'm like, walk up, tap it back to him. I'm like, that's good. He did that probably 5 times that round, where he just had a little nipper and just sat right, like at least 12 inches from the hole. 5 times.
Well, he had the one, right? You were standing on the green. He was 55 yards out, and what happened?
Yeah, he dunked that one on the first hole at International from 55 yards out. That was awesome. And I was up on the green to watch it happen. It was really, really cool. I wish I had a camera out for that. It was so cool.
Yeah. So like I said, nobody set the world on fire except for maybe Bird and the detective.
And my
the rest of us, had our ups and downs. But dude, I hit so many good shots. I'm not disappointed.
Yeah,
I know next week will be our goal interview, or our end of year goal. Did you put your scores in?
I did.
Yeah, I did too. And
we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah. Last thing I got
You
real
don't sound so
fast.
happy.
No. Last thing I got real quick. And I don't know if we talked about it in the last podcast. I don't think we did. But it was round number 1. It was the 10th, 11th, 12th hole at or no, it wasn't. It was the 8th, the par 4, 8, 7, the par 5 at National. And you and I had a long drive contest, but something interesting happened.
Oh, yeah. It finally took you, what's that, 25 holes where you realized I had a new driver?
Dude goes out and gets himself a new driver before the trip and doesn't say anything. And I don't know, we only played like 100 rounds a year together.
Yeah.
You've had that driver for 2 years. And I go, long drive competition, and I smack one out there. And I go, he's going to hit some high spinny thing with this stealth. It's going to get eaten up in the wind. And I look and I go, where the hell's the stealth? Where's the spinny, high, spinny thing? Right? And you got this. What'd you end up getting?
I got an AI Smoke. Callaway AI Smoke. Yeah. And we'll talk about that because it's a long story, but we'll talk about it. And I told your wife, too. I was like, got a new driver. I'm not going to tell him. I told her the whole story. I'm gonna see how long it takes him to realize it. And I told the guys, too, at Royal St. Cloud, I'm like, I'm going to see something. Dude, we rode in the same cart for 2 rounds. And it took you 25 holes to realize that I had a new driver. So
some people say I'm selfish. Maybe I'm focused on what's going on this side of the cart. But dude, congratulations on the new stick. Another goal accomplished. So, like I said, overall a brilliant trip. a flawless trip.
85 degrees every single day. Yeah. And now it's not warmer than 28.
And then you left, and then Jamie flew in for 3 or 4 days, and we went to Epcot and drank our way around the world, and went to Disney Springs and sat by the pool, and then flew back, and it's 29 degrees and an ice storm, and I think I have a broken pipe, and I hate this.
When's the next
I hate
one?
this.
When's the next one? That's the question.
So I figure we're about 15 days away from driving down south. I figure 2 weeks should be good to go. Should be a little road
I'll
trip.
check the weather down in Sanford and Asheboro, North Carolina. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds amazing. All right, dude.
All right, dude.
Like I
That's
said,
good.
All right. Shout out to all the sponsors, especially to MyMedicareNY.com, MyMedicareNY.com for all your Medicare help. Free consultations. They might be able to save you a couple of bucks either now or later. Give them a holler.
All right, dude.
All right, I'm Adam.
Mike. Just
the tips.
Just the tips.